Hello everyone, welcome to my biography on the man whose life needed to be seen to be believed, Harry Houdini. No man compares to the legend himself in the world of magic. Put your hands together for the life of the greatest magician to ever live. You'll be wonderstruck. Anyways, enjoy. On this day, March 24th, 148 years ago in 1874, Harry Houdini was born Erich Weiss in this home in Budapest, Hungary. When he was 2, he and his family of 8 moved to the top immigrant destination of Appleton, Wisconsin, specifically this home. Here, his father, Mayer, would serve as a rabbi at the local synagogue, meaning that Erich had to practice Hebrew through strenuous training while growing up. When Erich was 13 in 1887, Erich, his father, and 5 of his siblings boarded a train going straight to New York City, where they later meet up with the rest of their family. It was when they arrived in New York City that Erich would start developing interests and habits, which will lead to the infamous talents of his later life. In 1894, still living in New York City, Erich had grown sick of his name, seeing as he didn't fit in well with other Americans. He also was growing eager to start a magic career, and so he renamed himself Harry Houdini after the great French magician Jean-Eugène Robert Houdin. Houdini would further pay homage to Houdin in his later life by kindly disproving and exposing almost every magic trick he ever did. Now that's what you call disrespect. Anyways, Houdini would have a brief trapeze career, although he would eventually decide to become a full-time magician. Shortly after changing his name, and still very early in his magic career, Harry was having a usual performance in about 1893 when he noticed another performer. He would fall in love with this performer, who happened to be Wilhelmina Radner. On June 22nd, 1894, the two married, with Wilhelmina taking her new name, Bess Houdini. For the rest of their lives, the couple would always perform and be there for each other. Even 5 years after marrying Bessie Houdini, Harry's acts were still going unnoticed until a businessman named Martin Beck discovered Houdini. The two became friends and business partners. After Martin convinced Houdini to go on tour, Harry found himself back in Europe, where he traveled the continent putting on lavish and extravagant magic acts for both the rich and the poor. He would perform his first popular trick, where he would escape from chains without a key. After his tour in the 1890s, Beck brought Houdini back to the US, where he would do the same thing for the next 20 years. In this period, Houdini would refuse to join the circus, instead paying them to give up their mistreated animals and gain quite a bit of wealth. With his success, Houdini could pursue other interests like flying, airplanes, which he could actually do. But most importantly, Houdini was now a household name. In 1912, the year where this happened, Houdini developed his most iconic trick, which is arguably the most iconic in magic history, the Chinese water torture cell, which wasn't Chinese. I'll let Houdini explain it himself.
Ladies and gentlemen, I take great pleasure in introducing my latest invention, the water torture cell. Although there is nothing supernatural about it, I am willing to forfeit the sum of $1,000 to anyone who can prove that it is possible to obtain air inside of the torture cell when I'm locked up in it in the regulation manner after it has been filled with water. Should anything go wrong when I'm locked up, one of my assistants walks to the curtain, ready to rush in, demolishing the glass, allowing the water to flow out in order to save my life. Harry Houdini, October the 29th, 1914.
Following many daring performances of his new and iconic trick, Houdini was catapulted to stardom, getting booked to do his trick at dozens of venues. However, Houdini's daring actions would lead to tragedy. On October 24th, 1926, Harry, who was in a dressing room minding his own business, was approached by a Canadian student from Montreal named J. Gordon Whitehead. Whitehead, yeah, that's actually his last name, approached Houdini in doubt of his great tricks. He asked the magician if he could punch him as hard as he could to see if he could magically be unharmed. Houdini said yes. Big Mistake. Houdini was punched so hard in the stomach by Whitehead that his appendix burst. Despite this major health issue, Houdini still performed his last show on the same day in Detroit, even though doctors begged him not to, with a grim decision. Either A, Houdini gets medical attention and survives, or B, painfully performs and ultimately perishes. Houdini, being a great magician, chose the latter option, stating, quote, "The show must go on." 1 week later, on October 31st, Halloween of 1926, Houdini passed away. He shockingly never wanted to press charges against Whitehead. Nonetheless, Bessie Houdini was devastated. She would try to contact her recently departed husband through many seances on every anniversary of his death for 10 years straight. With a tragic end, Houdini would leave behind the greatest magic career history ever saw, and a new talent which would inspire generations of magicians to come. And with that, that was my biography on Harry Houdini. What a man and what a career. My next video will be a history on one of the most ridiculous events in human history, which is the Great Llama War. It will come out in 8 days. Thanks for watching.